Bitcoin is pulling back here. And what I think is fascinating is that we came up as high as about 99,000 and change right up here, and we're now seeing a pullback. And just to explain what's going on here from a psychological standpoint is that you had a lot of people that were expecting last Friday, even myself. I was like, hey, I think we're going to break 100K here. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen over the weekend. And so what you had was a lot of kind of gambling money pile in at 99,000, thinking it was going to break. And now that it hasn't broken, they're getting nervous. And now as it downticks, that kind of weak-handed investor is starting to sell, and it's causing Bitcoin to retrace. And I think that's really important because I still think it's going to break 100,000 here. I just think you have to kind of wipe out those weak hands first that kind of piled in just for that glory of watching the breakout above 100K. So right now we are pulling back. Sentiment had gotten very, very bullish. Everyone was gambling and thinking it was going to be a 100K easy break. So now you have to kind of wipe out those weak hands. Once it gets down, you'll have some support around 91, 92,000 here. My guess is it'll stabilize, and then we'll start turning back up once those weak hands are kind of liquidated from the market. And I think at that point, this is interesting. At that point, I think not only do we pierce 100,000 on Bitcoin, but I think money from the altcoin moves will start to rotate into Bitcoin and push it even higher than 100K. Now, on a technical basis, this is something I discovered.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, Gareth Soloway delves into major trades, key levels, and technical analysis for Bitcoin, gold, and select stocks. Join us to uncover his expert insights and strategies.
It's the parallel channel that goes back to the high of 2017. So here's your bull market high of 2017. Here's your bull market high, the first high in 2021, and exactly to the high, the second high in 2021. Now, the way I tell if a line is important is I drop the parallel down. And so what you can see is this lower line is a parallel, right? So I'm taking it down, and notice how it perfectly interjects at this low and at this low. And what that tells me is that this line has credence, meaning it has power, because there's an even parallel with that kind of solidifies its importance. And so what I would expect is at some point we push back up, pierce 100,000, and we kind of go up to tag this upper level, which is right around 107 to 108. Once we get there, then I think we get the bigger correction, maybe back to 74 to 75. Now, where do I get 74, 75 from? That's looking at this former all-time high right here that was in March. And there's inevitability where markets tend to come back to what I call the scene of the crime, right? So you had this level right here. We kind of chopped around. We bull flagged here. We broke out. And there's this tendency to come back into that level here. And then that's where, for me, that's where I'm a buyer. Like if you give me 74, 75, I will buy hand over fist, because usually what you'll do is you'll break out, retrace, and then you'll continue up much, much more sharply. So at least to kind of game it out, that's what I would expect from a technical standpoint.
And super quickly, let's just understand the charting, the expectations Gareth just laid out. Actually, first off, we were recording right around here, and notice in the short term, price did play out exactly as Gareth's charts were predicting. We fell down to around the 90 to 92 support level, shook out the weak hands, and we bounced back. And not that we can't, chop around here for days, weeks. This can continue. This can continue. But then Gareth said he expects the Bitcoin price to climb to 108 before then correcting down to the 70s, this next support. So then my question is,
and so ultimately you're right. There is the paradigm shift. I continue to be long-term crazy bullish on Bitcoin. I think it's going well above 150, maybe 200,000 or beyond. But I don't think that you're not going to ever get big pullbacks, right? Historically, we know Bitcoin has corrections that can be as much as 50% or greater. I think we'll get one that at least takes it back to 74 to 75.
Do you think 108 to 110 is that your 2025 cycle top expectation, or is 150 to 200 the cycle top expectation, and 108 would be the short-term top?
Wow, that's a really good question. So I think over the next month or two, 108, 107 is my high with a correction back to 74 to 75. By end of next year, I think there's so many things that are unknown that it's hard to predict. For instance, where's inflation? Because, we're talking about massive tariffs, which can be inflationary. We're talking about other factors. And if we start to see inflation getting out of control, and let's say Trump doesn't follow through on his Doge project with Elon Musk and cut spending, then there's, if they can bring spending down and the deficit starts to shrink, then Bitcoin as a digital gold is less valuable to me. And I'm not saying to everyone, but it's for me, it's the offset of ridiculous spending in governments and fiat currencies. So the big question is, does he come through on his pledges, or do we just see business as usual in Washington and the spending just continue and the deficit just continues to balloon? The more the deficit balloons, I think the more Bitcoin goes higher.
Bitcoin's price has rebounded impressively, surging past $95,000 after a brief dip to $90,000. The recovery, representing a 4.22% gain, has been fueled by a confluence of factors that underscore growing investor confidence. Chief among these is the sharp increase in demand on major exchanges like Coinbase. A noticeable Coinbase premium has emerged, signaling heightened buying interest from U.S. retail investors. This demand surge played a pivotal role in reversing the price drop observed on November 25 and reigniting bullish momentum. The broader demand narrative is equally compelling. Since October, apparent demand has skyrocketed, multiplying 13-fold to reach 243,765 BTC. This growth underscores the increasing interest among both institutional and retail investors. As Julio Moreno aptly noted in a recent tweet, demand expansion is what will get Bitcoin higher. His observation reflects the sentiment of a market that is rallying around Bitcoin's potential for further growth. Technically, Bitcoin's ability to maintain a foothold above $95,000 is crucial for sustaining upward momentum. While $93,000 serves as a vital support level, traders are eyeing resistance zones between $97,000 and $100,000. Liquidity dynamics also play a significant role, with $350 million in leveraged positions clustered in this range, creating an attractive upward pull.
And if it's that perfect storm, then you can see 150 to 200 by end of next year.
Yeah, I think, again, 200 seems really crazy, but then again, so did 100 12 months ago. So I think at least 150 is very realistic. And I think if it really gets out of control, then there's always a possible, maybe by 2026, you're at 200.
And just for traders in this market, how much of the Trump inauguration on January 6th, with Trump being the Bitcoin president, do you think that could be a rally into a local top?
Yeah, I think
108.
in fact, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? Is so investors have bought this kind of idea that Trump's going to come in here and be, so Bitcoin pro that it's just going to be amazing. But the thing is that markets price in expectations, right? And this goes for stocks, commodities, and crypto. And so investors are pricing in this lofty expectation that he's going to name a crypto czar, that he's going to do this, that he's going to create this reserve. And that's what they're pricing in now. So anything less would be a slight disappointment. And that's where you get that local top at 107 to 108 that actually could create that another reason, not just stock market related, but another reason, maybe a little disappointment. Maybe he doesn't move as fast as the crypto investors want, and that could bring in price.
Bitcoin has surged to unprecedented heights, nearing $100,000, in the wake of Donald Trump's re-election and his vocal pro-crypto agenda. This remarkable rally, which saw Bitcoin leap from $69,000 in just weeks, reflects growing optimism around policies promising a transformative era for the digital asset. Trump's pledge to establish a federal Bitcoin reserve and push for regulatory clarity has electrified the market, inspiring both retail and institutional investors. States like Texas and Pennsylvania have seized the momentum, with prominent figures like Dennis Porter advocating for legislation to create state-level Bitcoin reserves. This trend showcases how state-led initiatives could accelerate Bitcoin adoption, fostering a competitive race among states eager to position themselves as crypto havens. Meanwhile, institutional involvement, fueled by SEC approval of Bitcoin ETF, has added legitimacy to the cryptocurrency. Industry giants like BlackRock and Fidelity are amplifying adoption, signaling mainstream acceptance. Yet, the partisan divide surrounding Bitcoin looms large. Republicans, emboldened by Trump's agenda, largely support Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation and U.S. debt concerns. Democrats, however, remain divided, wary of the risks tied to deregulation. With SEC leadership changes and regulatory optimism on the horizon, Bitcoin's trajectory will test whether this surge is the dawn of sustained growth or fleeting hype. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.